I am genuinely trying to upload more than Mr. Beast and Mark Rober. Really am. So once again, we're here talking about Project L and talk about the characters that we think are going to be coming into Project L. In the last video, we actually talked about most of the characters that be coming from the regions that were mostly a huge part of Arcane. That being Piltover and Zon. In the last video, I asked what region you want to see, and someone commented they wanted to see the Void. Is the only comment saying a region they want to see, but hey, still a majority. So that's what we'll be talking about today. We'll talk about the Void. Still, Diddly has been announced for Project L, still no release date, still nothing, so there's really nothing to go on, and tier list. So, still have everyone in the bottom and D that is a part of the Void, and the characters for the Void are Kassadin, Kaisa, Vel'Koz, Kha'Zix, Cho'Gath, Malzahar, Rek'Sai, and Kog'Maw. The Void is probably one of the more tiny regions of Runeterra because it's technically not a part of Runeterra, it's its own cluster. But again, too, that's just for fun, and away we go. And cut to when the list is finished.
Power of editing, baby!
And as you can see from the list, things seem pretty frickin' decisive. So the character I think is most likely, not really a big surprise-ish, Kaisa! Kaisa's an amazing character, very iconic character, and Kaisa was one of the first characters that Riot introduced that had been teased about in the lore and then introduced at a later time, and fans were happy. Kaisa is a character that a lot of people like to play. She's been in cinematic, she has different ways to actually play the game, she has just so many unique things, and that also would translate into a fighting game. She could have dashes, because that could actually fit the character. She could have range attacks, because that also fits the character. She could have up-close attacks, because that fits the character. Things work well with Kaisa, and nothing's a real exaggeration or anything that doesn't fit very solidly. There's honestly nothing really that would be stopping Riot from putting Kaisa in the game other than just they want other characters in the game at a later time, but Kaisa fits very freaking smoothly. Next, A tier. Kassadin. Well, similar to Kaisa, Kassadin actually does fit pretty decently as well into a fighting game. Does have something good for gap closers, does have something good for mobility, yada and yada and yada. The only thing is Kassadin might be considered not as a high priority to the list. That being with the recent rework of Kassadin was literally just a visual rework on his lock screen picture. They don't update any of the voices, the skins, blah and blah and blah. They might do this at a later time, but this kind of shows that they just are really taking their time with Kassadin, and he's not the biggest character to list right now. Other characters like Udyr and Skarner actually have reworks that are announced, so it doesn't seem like they have a huge priority for Kassadin. His moves will be interesting since he does have a lot of things for gap closing, but the problem with his gap closing moves are they're pretty simplistic, and having a complete instant blink in a fighting game with no real animation, with no real whatever, no thank you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Next, B tier. Malzahar. Now, Malzahar actually does have a decentish chance of getting to the game. He does have his minions for setup similar to Nappa in Dragon Ball FighterZ. The only real thing is if they don't really want anything for Zoni, which we did talk about in the other video, it's going to be very difficult for Malzahar to actually be in the game. He doesn't have anything really for close range, and his most iconic move is a move that is just a point-and-click stun, which is not going to be the most beneficial in a fighting game. But they could still have unique things with his warp gates, with his voidling, but if they don't want anything for zoning, it's going to be freaking difficult. Next, C tier. Kha'Zix, Cho'Gath, Rek'Sai, and Vel'Koz. Holy shit. Gotta be completely honest, these guys ain't making it. They're not making it. So, Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix actually does have some unique things that would actually play well into a fighting game. He has ways to close the gap. He does have a unique design with unique attacks. They will actually look fantastic in a fighting game, but it's a problem that's probably going to come up a lot in Project L. Is going to be the character model, which all these characters are going to have issues with. That being said, Kha'Zix's attacks are also pretty basic and look very similar, as they're very straightforward. He does have multiple different ways to attack, but they all look very similar and straightforward, which would definitely lack quite a bit of attack clarity. It's not possible for the lad to get in, but it's not amazing-ish. Cho'Gath. Yeah, Bucko's having a hard time. Cho'Gath's whole thing is that he grows in size. That's not working in a fighting. That's not working into a fighting game. Giving the boy a bigger hitbox, even to give him more health or some sort of gimmick, that just does not sound good. Rek'Sai, very similar to all the other problems. She has a unique character model, ways to close the gap, all her knockups, but the character model is just such a detriment to Rek'Sai. Vel'Koz. Oh boy. So, Bucko's got a unique character model, no physical combat, only zoning. Yeah, sorry. And last, the lad who is by far not making it into the frickin' game, Kog'Maw. No, there's absolutely no way they're putting Kog'Maw into Project L. I'm sorry. The character is completely all zoning, every one of his abilities is zoning. The character model will be extremely a pain in the ass to make, and all Cogong's moves is auto attacks, speeding up auto attacks, and ranged attacks. And the fact being that his passive would not work in Project L. If they're not putting Zone in the game, he's not making it. If they do put Zone in the game, I still don't think the boy's making it. Anyways, that's where I have all the characters right now. Are you shitting me? Okay, quickly, Belveth. You go here. The fact that the character actually has two forms, her normal form and then her actual true form. Her true form is fucking gigantic. No. Same issue with Cho'Gath. No. And the fact that the character always just wants to auto attack with all a very similar animation. No. Belveth also has a very strong chance of also not getting the game. Infinite attack speed? What the fuck are you doing, Riot? Please leave comments. Tell me what region you'd like to see next. Always love to read comments. Please go check Twitter. Please go check Twitch. And just remember, as you can for close drops.